All right. Going live now, just waiting for the stream to catch up. See how this stream is coming along. All right, here we go. Should be coming on in a second. Just testing my sound. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. All right, sound's coming on loud and clear. All right, good, excellent. Looks like everything's working. See if anyone's there in the chat as well. All right, there we go. We got some people coming through right now. All right, we might just see if I can just stall a little bit. Wait for some more people to get in here, because before this last hour, I didn't even know that I was coming online. But looking at my schedule, there was no chance this weekend that I was going to be able to come online. And that's exactly what happened last weekend and the weekend before that. Because as you guys know, the Shroom Live podcast is back on for this year, 2021. We had our first episode probably about 6 to maybe even 7 weeks back now. So I generally try to come out here once a month to try to put on a show. So it's been very busy. My voice is a little bit weird today too, so just trying to see if I can just go through one of these live streams, put up an episode on the Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever it's on now. So it's on plenty of places, plenty of platforms. So it looks like we've got, already 28 people straight away, and it's only been a minute 40. All right, let's go see who's here, guys. Let's see who's in the chat. So we got Ryan Waller. He says, hi, Shroom. So g'day, mate. How's it going? Novo, a regular as well. He says, hello, Shroom. Ryan's got a comment here. He says, love your content, mate. Still think you should do a Google Map fishing challenge. Look, I'll put that one in the bag of tricks. I might pull that out at some stage. Sounds interesting. I think a few people might want to see that. Maybe just put a blindfold, put my finger down somewhere on the map, and hopefully I end up on some side of New South Wales that I could reach. Levero Cepho's here. Dustin Canavan, I remember that name. How's it going, mate? Issa, he says, yo, Shroom. How's it going, Issa? So a lot of familiar faces tonight. Miles, another familiar face. Miles Brigham says, congrats, Shroom. That's right, guys. Thank you very much. We've hit the 50K mark. I always kind of like not celebrate the accolades of the channel. So I've been like pretty much putting it off, but I owe it to you guys. Thank you very much for each and every one of yous, for all your support over not just the months, not just last year, but over many, many years. And yeah, just thanks for watching all my videos. It keeps me going. Indo Fishing Sydney's here as well. He says first in the first 3 minutes, I guess, Indo. Owens. Noah Johansson says hello. How's it going? Janet Chiro Sheena. He says hi with a heart. Thank you very much. Hi, how's it going? And let's keep going. Frosty Dragon Boy's here. Jimmy J's here as well. Got Arthur, Dejan. Wow, so many people. Jesse, Tokus, Tanya. Hi, that's a new face. How's it going, Tanya? If this is your first time, hope you're enjoying the show. F4B10 says, hey, GG. All right. Look at all these names. I'll just quickly go through the list. Equips here. I remember that. Hore877. How's it going, buddy? Seen you around. He says, yo, my boy Shroom. I'm here in Para. You're fishing in the Para tonight. Let me know how you go. Jesse says, Shroom, I love you. Thank you very much. Appreciate the love and support. Ahmed, he says, let's go, Shroom. Equip. I think I've said that one. Rope 8. All right, guys. Plenty of people here. How you all going? So tonight is tonight's Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday night. Not the night that I normally come on live, but like I said to those people that got here earlier, I saw in my schedule I got a couple hours free, so I could at least try to squeeze in at least a 1 hour stream. Spend all that last half hour just trying to prep up the place, get all the gear sorted, and yeah, get myself in some kind of reasonable condition and just come on right on here right now. And yeah, hopefully I can entertain you guys. If you guys got any questions, as you guys know, just put it down. Anything at all, I'll try to answer it. So let's have another great night. Let's have another great stream. And guys, yes, thanks for 50K. So that's why I'm putting on this show tonight. Rope 8 says, hey Shroom, love the videos. Do you use the FG knot for main to leader? You know what, Rope 8? That's exactly what I use these days. I've lost plenty of fish on some of my other dodgy attempts to tie double unis, slim beauties, and some other no-name knots that I've learned over the years. There's nothing wrong with that. Those knots are quite strong, quite useful. Many people find them to be sufficient for what they use, but I've currently swapped over to the FG knot for the last 2 years. So I find that with a little bit of effort, it's a little bit trickier to tie, especially out on the water. But if you can just pretty much get that knot going, get a technique and a certain method to tie it on the water, especially if you're on the water, because that's when you're going to find the hardest to tie. At home, when you're sitting on a chair with everything in front of you on a table, no problems. You can get that sorted out pretty easily, pretty simply, without any issues. But once you're out on the water and you get a busted leader knot when you've got a bust up in front of you, then yeah, that's when it starts getting hard to tie. And sometimes I will resort to a double uni if I really need to get that leader knot just tied on right then and there and get that lure straight into the bust up. Peter Schneider's here as well. We've got Anthony Cox. He says he's a member. So hi Anthony, how's it going? Good to see you again. Looking forward to some tips. You bet, Anthony. Hopefully, yeah, what I've got to say is useful to all of yous out there. Yeah, I just try to put on a show, try to be entertaining. All right, let's keep it going. All right, let's keep scrolling down. Equip says, any good spots for Jewies? Trying to catch my first one. Like right now, if there's plenty of people on the river right now at the Sydney Harbour wharves, and they'll pretty much fish the tides, or actually fish they'll fish time, and they're just pretty much using live baits or strip baits. You can get jewfish that way. Now, if you're talking about lures, I like to do that during the day. And I guess like a good spot, like I won't name like specific spots, but I look for points, narrowings in the river, bridges, and if there's any kind of like a unusual bit of terrain along a river, such as some kind of hole or drop off, I'll be putting my time in there, especially around the tide changes. And gear of choice, 3 to 6 kilogram rod, 7 foot, somewhere around there, 2,500, 3,000 size reel, in your favorite brands. And for line, you want to be using something that's got about like a 10-pound breaking strain. So these days, you kind of just have to look up the brand and then figure out how they do their ratings. A lot of brands these days overrate their braid. So you can pretty much use something that's about 6 pound or 8 pound, and it'll still break well over 10. And I personally use 14-pound leader, and that pretty much is like the, like the rod, reel, line, leader situation. That's all sorted. And yeah, of course, tie a strong leader knot. And in terms of lures, you can't go past the 3 to 4 inch paddle tail in your favorite brands. Some of the ones that I like to use include the squidgy fish, the Z-Man minnows in 3 inch, the diesel minnows in the 4 inch, and they even have a 5 inch diesel minnows as well. Plenty of brands have their own, paddle tail. So basically just pick and choose something in that range. And then for the jig head, something that is about 1/4 ounce to 3/8 ounce is pretty much right in the slot. So that amount of weight is most suited towards the places that you're going to be able to fish in Sydney. And what else? Yeah, hook size, very important as well. Hook size, I like to use a 3/0, but you can pretty much chop and change between a 3/0 to a 5/0 size hook. Now, if you have a really, really stiff rod, then yeah, you could probably lean towards like heavier gauge hooks as well. But if you're on the side with a bit of a softer rod, stick to the small hooks, maybe the 3/0s, maybe even in a lighter gauge as well, if you can find something like that. So it can get quite technical when it comes to chasing mulloway, especially on lures. But that that recipe, that format right there, just that pretty much ticks all the boxes. And at some stage, if you can just work on your technique, which I would use just a double hop, pretty much like if you were chasing flathead in the estuaries, then yeah, you're gonna find some success at some stage just doing that. But yeah, if you got any more specific questions, yeah, drop that down in the comment section. Oh yeah, I just got a donation from Miles. Thank you very much, buddy. If you got a question, Miles, I appreciate the support. Yeah, drop it down as well. I'll try to get to your question. Thanks for supporting the channel. Yeah, much appreciated. All right, we've got a few more people coming through. Destroyer Boy, Christopher, how's it going, buddy? Hope you're enjoying the show. Noah Johansson says favorite fish. Favorite fish, whatever's biting, I guess. But you know, most of the time I'm chasing brim, and these days I'm actually finding I'm chasing quite a few flathead as well, and the odd kingfish. Mulloway, I used to do a lot of that, still do, but yeah, I guess that's always got a special place in my heart, especially when a nice silver slab just comes up out of the water. Most of the time, I hook them in really muddy water, and yeah, you won't see it. You'll know it. Your heart will tell you that you're onto a Jew because of those head shakes. If you've caught plenty, you'll definitely recognize it. It'll make your heart flutter. And then just as it pops up, your heart just stops, and you just know that yes, that's what I came for. So yeah, I guess like I like pretty much all kinds of fish, but you know, the main ones everyone can chase in the estuaries, they're right up there as being one of my favorites. Mark Osborne says, can't make up my mind. Think you'll have a good answer. Looking for a decent reel to team up with a Samaki Zing Gen 3 9-foot high action rod. Okay, now that's a pretty long rod. Samaki Zing, I am aware of those rods. I think they're about $150 rod, $100 to $150 rod. I might be a little bit off, plus minus $20 either way, but maybe towards the high, you know, the upper bracket, 150, 170. What's the line class of that rod? 9-foot high action, so fast action rod. Sounds like it could be maybe a 3 to 6 or a 4 to 9 kilogram rod right there. So if I don't get back to that question, I would say pair it up with a size 3000 Daiwa or a 4000 size Shimano. Here are some rods that'll do the job. You could get Stratic FL, fantastic rod. Daiwa BG, another fantastic reel. So Stratic guys, they make rods. They do make the Stratic rods. I think it's for the JDM market, but in Australia, Stratic reels, the Stratic FL and the Daiwa Black Gold, or the Daiwa BG is what they're called these days. Fantastic, super solid reels. You could go for some lighter options if you have a specific need. So maybe this 9-foot rod you're intending to target squid with, for example, and in that case you can go for maybe like a Luvius or a Freeams from the Daiwa stable, or obviously Stratic CI4 Plus, and the new one, the Vanford, really nice reel. Yeah, check those options out. Hore877 says, hell yeah, brother, it's that super pink moon, 2 meter high at 9:30 at Silverwater Bridge. Yes, I know the place. Southern Bank or Northern Bank? Southern Bank could be a little bit suspect, if you know what I mean. But yeah, 2 meter highs right now. So we got really strong tides to those people that haven't been fishing right now. We're getting really strong tides at this stage just due to the moon phase and time of year. Plenty of people getting their PB brim right now. So good time to be chasing brim. People have been getting good dewies as well on the harbor at night along the wharves. I'm sure you guys have seen all those pictures all over social media. Even AKA Mike has got a massive dew in this past couple of weeks. Was it a 1.1, guys? You guys might remember. I think it was a 1.1 kilogram or 1.05. Sorry, kilogram meter. I'm out of it today, guys. Like I said, I just rushed. I looked at my schedule. I had a few hours free here. Spent half an hour prepping the stream. Came straight on. So pretty much impromptu, hop right onto the microphone. So yeah, excuse all the bloopers. But guys, if you've watched my last video, not quite as bad as when I took that stack on my gear along the Parramatta River. I got wasted there. I made that little edit. Hope you guys enjoyed that. That was pretty fun. I thought I'd try to make you guys laugh. Now, yeah, so yeah, 2 meter high tides right now, really strong flow. So if you're fishing with lures, you kind of just want to be focusing on the tide changes right now. It's very quick, if you're fishing in between the tides when the water comes to slack. But definitely a lot of fish moving up and down the river, from the mouth all the way up through to the ends where the weirs are. And, that rain that we had about 4 weeks ago now, 4 weeks ago, plus minus a couple of weeks here and there. That water quality in the Cooks, in the Georges, it's all back to normal. It's all back to normal. The harbour pretty much recovered within the first week. The hacking was looking pretty bad for the first week, really brown, and then started clearing up pretty quickly as well. And yeah, now everything's pretty much in the system. All the bait's back in the the normal spots. Kings are still pushing into the bays. I've seen reports of salmon still, pretty much pushing very far up the bay in the harbour, like pretty much, maybe not all the way to the end from what I've seen, but generally at around this time of year, if you're fishing in the bays, you're in with a chance. You're in with a chance of a mini bust up somewhere, or some, prawns popping along the side, and that's salmon. That's salmon harassing the baits. Yeah, pretty much all the way up through the power system, at least. So yeah, plenty of reports on social media right now. So yeah, if you're chasing brim and you're smoked, there's a good chance it's a nice salmon. All right, let's keep going. Christian Brown, my mate, caught a black marlin off Meadowbank Wharf the other day. I'd like to believe that. But yeah, no, that doesn't happen. You wouldn't catch a marlin all the way up in Meadowbank Wharf. Maybe it was something else. If you have a picture, yeah, please send it to me or tag me on social media. I'd like to have a look at that. But yeah, I think anyone that chases marlin would know that that's pretty much next to impossible. Tanya says, yo, Rom B81 says, hi, Shroom. When you are done fishing for the day, do you cut the leader off and retie a new one on another day? You know what? I can be pretty lazy. If I'm fishing maybe consecutive days or shortly after that session on the same night or same day, in other words, then I won't cut it off and retie another one. But most of the time, I will try and tie a new leader, especially if I'm fishing on a boat. You just want to be prepping the night before, get everything ready, all your lures, all your jig heads. Make sure that you don't need to oil any reels. Everything's working fine. You don't have any disasters on the first cast. Pop leader knots, all that. Retie all my FGs, go through, make sure everything's full length. What else? Yeah, so especially also if I'm chasing larger fish, if I'm chasing kingies or mulloway, big flathead, yeah, you bet I'll be retying that. And if I'm chasing brim, yeah, I might slack off at the occasion and just like go ahead with my FG knot from the night before or a couple of days before. But if I'm using hard body lures, I'll retie another one. Hard bodies, blades, anything which is expensive, any expensive lure, it pays to just retie that one. It just makes sense at the end of the day. You won't be kicking yourself when it flies right off on the cast, which is the worst case scenario. Equip says, Buller Street Wharf, any good? I think that's in the harbour. I can't quite pinpoint which one that is right now. So someone's got to maybe drop down the suburb. That might come to me. I don't really want to look that up, but if I keep getting asked, I'll search it up on Google Maps and I'll find out. Sounds very familiar. Let's keep going down. Oh yeah, Crippet says, hey, how's it going, Crippet? Thanks for becoming a member. Hope you're enjoying the show. And guys, yeah, keep putting in messages. I always fall behind the chat answering questions, but I really need to stay at the forefront of this. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. Lewis Adams says he's caught a 92 centimeter kingfish yesterday. Yes, I like to hear that. I like to hear these success stories. Lewis, tell me what you used, where you're fishing, where your spot was. No, I'm just kidding. Just tell me a little bit of a backstory. I'd like to hear that. Is that your PB? That's fantastic. Hats off to you, Lewis. Great fish. Tanya says, I never catch a king. Well, you know what? In previous years, I would say that, wait till next year or wait till the end of the year when the water starts warming up. But these days, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's with the stocking from the DPI, putting in the small kingfish out in the bay and in the, I think they did in the harbor as well. I'm not too sure, but they definitely did in the bay. There was one year where I caught really tiny kings. It's paying off. It's making the fishery pretty much bounce back, and we're getting kings all the way through to the start of winter. Now, I did catch my biggest king in I think in the month of May or the start of June, a couple of years ago. So you could still get the big ones. That you can always get the big ones throughout the year. It's just that all the rats seem to disappear when the weather starts to cool down and the water temperature starts to cool down. So right now, I would say the air temperature isn't too bad. Like I put on a jumper, like right now, I put on a hoodie for this stream because, I don't want to be freezing while I just want to be pretty much comfortable giving this live podcast. But normally I'd just be wearing a long sleeve shirt. As you guys know, that's my favorite attire. Just a long sleeve shirt. And the air temperature is not too bad. The water temperature did take a hit when we had those rains, but I thought that maybe one more period of super long rain, that the water temperature might be a little bit too cold, and then we're going to hit, the cold season for fishing, which is pretty much winter when everything starts to cool down. But right now, I'm not too sure. I think you could still get kings all the way through to the start of winter at least. Like the rats still seem to be around in plenty of the bays. People have been messaging me, sending me even mini videos of kings harassing bait in about the harbor and the bay, in the botany system. So definitely get out there, give it a go. You never know when you're going to tick that off. All right, let's keep going. So what's Crippet's got something to say? He says kingfish are a bit of a phantom down here in Tasmania. Tasmania. Yeah, they're here for a few weeks and then they're gone. Yeah, well, that's one of the most fun fish that you could chase. Yeah, and I wish you guys would get them a little bit more commonly down that way. It must be such a special occasion when they do come down there and you see. I mean, do you guys see them in schools swimming against the bank and busting up like they do up in Sydney? Because that sight is just it just gets the heart pumping, just gets the blood pumping, and there's just no feeling. There's no feeling like that, especially if you've got a rod in your hand. Now, if you don't have a rod in your hand, your mouth drops to the ground and you're just kicking yourself. But if you've got a rod in your hand and you see that, your eyes light up and your blood is just rushing. One of the best feelings. Now, so What to Cook says, hello, Shroom. Hey, how's it going? Grace says, hi. Let's keep going down. Yeah, thanks, Noah. Yeah, guys, hit the like button if you're enjoying the stream. Hit the like button. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. I pretty much just make fishing videos, put them up on the channel. Every week, every Thursday. So I'll have another video tomorrow for you guys. Yeah, Cripper says, no, nothing like Sydney. You don't see them until the Aussie salmon start busting up. Then you hope they're hiding underneath those schools. Yeah, that's right. So I think there was one clip that I had, one video where I saw it was on the harbor. I was land-based with my brim gear, and I saw what I thought was a school of kingfish. And then I threw a little lure in, and I hooked up straight away. And I was thinking, yeah, that's definitely a kingfish. But then when I pulled it in, it was a salmon. So then I pretty much thought, oh yeah, my eyesight's pretty bad. It's probably a school of salmon. But then when I looked over the footage, people were saying, no, it's actually kingfish. You can see the yellow tail. So these fish must pretty much school together at some stages. So that's happened a few times as well. So anytime that I've caught kingfish, there's always that chance that I'll catch an Australian salmon, and they've always been pretty big as well. So they must like pretty much hang around each other based on selection of size, possibly. But yeah, you'll definitely know when you hook a king versus when you hook a salmon. A salmon does give you a good run, maybe a good run or two, but the velocity that the kingfish take off at and the way that they run straight, hard, and down deep. It's like they're barreling down into the water. You know straight away when you're in trouble, and you always feel that when you, even if you hook a rat kingfish. It's unbelievable if you don't have the right gear, how they can just like pretty much put you on show. And I guess that's why we love them. So that's why we love them. It's one of our best sport fish. Arthur Kim says, Shroom, do you remember me from Lavender Bay? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Have you been back there that day? So guys, yeah, that day I was out at Lavender Bay trying to chase some kingfish. But yeah, we saw some schools of Taylor, but the kingfish didn't turn up that day. So unfortunately for me, unfortunately for us, wasn't able to make a video that day. But I definitely remember, Arthur. Hope you've had some more luck, had better luck than me. Hope over the next since that time, since that day that I saw you, that you've had, you've gone back there and you've struck it lucky. All right, let's keep going down. Mini Knot says, Shroom, how big is your biggest flathead? The biggest flathead that I've caught is 92 centimeters. It's the same. You can see a picture of it on my channel banner. So I think it's on the. So I've got two fish on the channel banner on the left-hand side. That's one of my most cherished memories. Caught that land-based in the Georges River on my 3 to 6 kilogram gear, 2,500. I think it was a Luvius 2510 PEH. I no longer have that reel. Not the current generation, but the previous generation Luvius. I used to own that one. And yeah, that was what was it? That was on a squidgy fish in 80 millimeter in the silver fox color with a 3/8 ounce jig head. I cast up along the bank. It was really deep. The water was definitely, the water was definitely running. I remember it was running. It was brown. It was a kind of like a steep drop off. I think 1 or 2 hops. I felt really heavy weight. I was thinking Mulloway. Straight away, I was thinking, yep, Mulloway, we're on. It didn't run. It just kept kind of slugging it out at the bottom of the hole. And I was thinking, here we go. It hasn't woken up. When's it going to take off? When am I going to get dusted? Here we go. And then I felt the biggest head shakes ever, like literally the biggest head shakes ever. So the fish was going left and right, and my rod tip was going like 1 meter to the left, 1 meter to the right. It was just like getting thrown around. I was thinking, oh, geez, what's this? This is incredible. Must be, it may not be a Mulloway. They do that funny kind of like head shake, and I just didn't feel that. And I was thinking, wow, this could be whatever it is. This is massive. I don't think it's foul hook because unless I've hooked it on the tail, these head shakes feel unbelievable. Took like 5-10 minutes to kind of coax it high enough in the water column, and then I got a glimpse of the shadow, and right then and there, my mouth just dropped. I was thinking, all right, I'm in trouble. How am I going to land this? I'm going to need a net. And guys, I actually had a net. So when I'm chasing fish with my heavy gear, I've got a net. I've got like 3 nets. I just don't bring it. I always forget to bring it when I go brim fishing because, most of the time you can just lift it in. But when you're chasing quality fish, you want to have that net. And I was thinking, how am I supposed to land this fish? Looking left, looking right. I was alone on the river. No one next to me. Pretty much had to like one hand hold on my left the rod and grab the handle of the long aluminium net on my right hand. And I had to descend like a little rock ledge. Took me ages to land it. we got it done after like many head shakes where it could have just thrown the hook. And yeah, that was when somebody came by, helped me take a photo, and that's the only reason why I have a photo. It'd be impossible to do a selfie, even with what I call the shoulder rest now. So you put the tail of the fish on one side of your shoulder that's holding the camera, and then you hold the head in that kind of strange orientation. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you fish on the river and you do your own selfies, that's what you got to do. That would not have been possible. Had to wear a glove just to like grip the fish near the mouth, because he had some serious razor sharp teeth, and the head on that fish, it was actually heavy. So it was like doing a mini gym session, just lifting that fish. And I wanted to support the body, of course. You don't want to lift it by the head. She went back in the river, kicked off. Sweet. It was like the best feeling when she kicked off. And the crazy thing was, I caught an 80 something plus the week before that. So whatever it was, there must have been one or two big females in the area. And they were just like, I don't know if they were spawning or whatever they were doing. They were just in that hole. And yeah, I was getting quite a few little smaller male flathead, of course, because the males are, they don't grow quite as big as the females. And those females were keeping them around. And this big girl right up against the bank, no more than about a meter or two off the ledge, off the side of the land. And that's where she was sitting. Unbelievable. Best, that was my biggest flathead. That's the story behind that. All right, we got a new member. So welcome, General Spades, to the Shroom Club member. Thank you very much. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for helping me continue to make videos. Check out the community tab. Enjoy those emoticons and emojis as well. Let me know if there's any specific emoji that you're interested in seeing. I've been trying to chop and change and mix it up, and trying to come up with ideas to make emojis that people want to use, and just for a bit of fun on the channel, like, of course. John Dowling says, good morning. So right now, I think most of us are in the Southern Hemisphere. It's about 7 p.m. Shout around dinner time for us, or the last meal of the day for us. Whereabouts are you? You must be in the Northern Hemisphere. Let me know where you're from. Are you from the US? I've got quite a few US viewers as well. So yeah, g'day to all the people from up that way. Yeah, thanks for watching my videos. Thanks for your support. Tanya says, what's your biggest brim? My biggest brim I caught last year at around this time. Like early in the stream, I said that this is a time when there's a bit of a flux, a bit of a change in the conditions. You're going from warm water fishing to, the cooler water fishing, which is when the bites start to dry up. But where you lose quantity of fish, you're gaining in quality. And last year in the winter, during the spawning season for brim, because that's when they spawn, pretty much like, I think from about the start of May throughout winter, that's kind of like when you're going to catch the really fat brim, and you're gonna know when you catch one, because they're going to look a bit different. Their bellies are going to be massive, very heavy, and they fight very, very well. They're probably about to start feeding very, very heavily, if not already. And there's already been a few people that have caught, their PB brim at this time of year. I caught mine, I think it was in June or July. There's a video, and that went 47.5 on the harbor. Unbelievable. I used a Z-Man Slim Swims in the bloodworm color. Z-Man Slim Swims in the bloodworm color, 1/16 ounce jig head, size 2 hook. I think I was doing a bit of an explanation, explaining how my technique for night fishing differs to day fishing. And pretty much just like how you would see in a textbook, hooked up. Best fight. When you hook a big brim, by the way, you don't really feel their tail kicks. They pretty much just run straight and hard in one direction. Sometimes I'll plane up along the sides, but generally they'll run a bit like a mulloway. You won't feel any kicking. It's just as though you're on the end of a mini train and it's just pulling straight and fast and hard. And at certain points it'll pause, but you won't really feel the tail kicking then and there either. You won't really feel head shakes. They're in defined phases. And then it might go for another run, And then after that, it's pretty much that's their gas tank done. And you just gotta play them out. Take your time, not do anything rash. Don't get dusted on any oysters encrusted on the rocks, and they'll come up to the surface. And yeah, if you take your time, they'll come in. That's pretty much what happened. Yeah, and you might have a few choice words if that brim is massive, because that's what came across my mind when it came up. I thought, oh yeah, cool. It's about 30-centimeter brim. Looks decent. And then when it hit the top of the water, my mouth just dropped. I knew straight away that was the biggest brim I'd seen in my life, even out about 5 meters in the dark in the Sydney Harbour system with barely any light, just knowing that that's not your normal brim there. That fight, that my eyes are just telling me that that's just not normal. And yeah, that's the story behind that. So if you want to look more into that, check out that video last winter. I've got it on the channel. All right, let's keep going down. Let me just hide that comment there. That's pretty funny, mate. Fish for Days says, how often are you going fishing? Probably about twice a week, once in the day, once at night. I Like Turtle says, I go for about 5 to 6 hours a day. Is that fishing session? That's quite that's a good day out if you can fish that long. Generally, I'll fish a lot longer if I'm on the boat, obviously. Land-based, if I'm with friends, we'll go half a day, full day. If I'm by myself, then yeah, maybe a couple of hours. I'm more able to just like pick up my rod, go down to the river if I've got a short window at some stage on the weekend, for example. Hi, Knock, how's it going? He says 60-centimeter brim, measure 40-centimeter, 15 years ago. Okay, not quite sure what that's supposed to say, but 60-centimeter brim, incredible. I think some people have caught brim in the 58-centimeter bracket that I've seen. 60-centimeter. I don't know if I've seen a picture of a brim that big, but that would be so incredible. And yeah, guys, if you got any pictures like that, send it to me. Send it to me on Instagram. Inbox me. I want to see. Or, obviously tag me on Instagram as well if you're posting it up publicly. Hey, we got a new member here. Is that a new member? Is that Jorge? I think, yeah, that's a new member. Here we go. Let me just go find that. Jorge 877. Thank you very much. Appreciate your support. Thanks for always joining the live stream as well and being a part of the chat. Really appreciate what you're doing. Thanks for your continued support. And yes, of course, thanks General Spades for becoming a member this stream as well. I Like Turtle says, Shroom, I really want to know, can you give me advice to catch the best brim so I can impress my mate Smackhead? Have I got that right? Smackhead Steve. Now, just to be a little bit funny, I don't know if Smackhead, I don't know where that comes from, but maybe he'll be impressed with any brim that you catch. Just go by that name. But you know what? I Like Turtles. Some just seriously, some advice on catching brim. Most people need to work on their technique. They need to slow down what they're doing. Give time for the lure to basically just work the water. You can leave it on the bottom, let it sit there, and then if you're going to start moving it, do really small lifts. I do like a bunch of little twitches, and you'll see that pretty much in all my videos. That's what I like to do. And I mix it up between a double lift, but it's kind of like a slow double lift, and I kind of lift it on slack line as well, because I kind of don't really fish on the most taut line when I'm fishing for brim. They seem to pick and run with the lure. And I want to give them that space to pick up the lure, turn their head, and then as the tension sets in, they're already facing the other way from me. And so any kind of tension that I apply is setting that hook in the corner of the jaw, rather than if I had it on taut line and then they're picking it up, I'll be striking straight away. So I'm pulling it out of their mouth when they're facing me, if that makes sense. That's kind of like my reasoning in why I fish like that. Implosion feeders, such as flatties, mulloway, bass, cod cod as well, but I haven't done any cod fishing on this channel, so I still need to tick that off. But implosion feeders, I like to fish with a taut line because when they open their mouth, that suction effect brings it all the way in, and I want to set it right away before they spit it out. So that's pretty much my reasoning. Seems to work for me. So that's just to answer that question more seriously. I hope that helps you. I like turtles. Terrence KO says, "What's your best setup for soft plastics lure fishing?" I'm currently using a Gary Loomis Edge rod in the Black Widow series, which is rated at 6 to 8 pound, 7 foot, which has a really strange cast rating of 1/8 ounce to a 3/8 ounce weight or jig head. But it seems to handle, at least for me, the way that I fish, with the way that I flick out lures with that whip casting. I can belt it further than some of my other rods, including my 2 to 4 kilogram Daiwa Battler and some of my other lower end rods as well. So for some reason, that's been my go-to. I would consider that my best rod currently, but it just depends on the season and the time. So if you go back about a year, I was pretty much just using the Battler because that's kind of like what I liked using. Preferences kind of change over time, so that could happen, but that's probably my best reel right now. And I pair that up with the Daiwa Exist 2000 SP, which is a shallow spool power gear version of the Exist. I don't think they sell that in Australia anymore. That was one of the models that they were offering early on when it came out. Now I think it's a deep spool version. So you'll get the DP, I think it is the 2000 LT DP, deep spool with power gear, which is pretty much perfect for Australian conditions, because if you're chasing whatever you're chasing, brim, flatties, you're gonna come across some massive bycatch at some stage or some hard running pelagics. It's not unheard of to just like chase brim and hook up to a kingfish or a meter mulloway or something. It's just what happens if you fish at least along the east coast of Australia. We get all kinds of variety in the salt because that's the country's surrounded by the ocean, so we do a lot of our fishing in the salt, and anything can be in the ocean. I guess it's a little bit more limited in the fresh, but yeah, definitely in the salt. Yeah, you could go the deep spool version, no problem. You have more line capacity. Nads for Life says, "Hello, I'm here. G'day, mate. How's it going? Hope you're enjoying the show." And Michael Cavalos, Michael, how's it going? Thank you for the donation. You don't have to do that. I greatly appreciate it. You definitely don't have to reach into your pockets. Just watching my videos is enough, mate. But I'd greatly appreciate your continued support. You've been there from the beginning, before I've even had 1,000 subs. So shout out to Michael here. He says, "Love the videos, Shroom." Thank you very much, Michael. Thanks a lot. Mini Not says, "Shroom, have you got a boat?" No, don't have a boat at this stage. Might get one in the future. Jorge 877 says, "Mr. First Shout Out, here's another beer, mate." Yes, shout out to you, Jorge. Hope you're enjoying the show. Now that you're seated in front of the show. Noah Johansson, I'm from Norway. Where you from? I'm from Sydney. If that's directed at me, I fish. I'm from Australia, and I'm from the city of Sydney. So I fish the main rivers, main section from Sydney, which include the Parramatta River system, which you'll hear me talk about a lot. The Georges River, which is just another river that's slightly south of that. So we've basically got 4 rivers that are parallel, and they all lead towards the east coast of Australia. So that's pretty much where I'm at. Jorge has given me a super sticker. Thank you very much, Jorge. Thanks for supporting the stream. And yeah, let's keep going. Akash Deep Sin says, "Hey, Shroom, mate, heard that the squid are getting bigger this winter. Any tips for nighttime squidding?" Yeah, I've seen some pretty big squid being posted up. I have a Facebook group called Sydney Fishing Now, and I've seen some videos and some pictures of some calamari. I think they're from the Hacking. They've been fishing at night. So Generally, however, excluding what's being posted on social media, you're gonna find the bigger squid towards the end of autumn and the start of winter, because that's when they breed. So this is a good time if you're chasing a really, really massive calamari. So tips, I guess the tip would be get out there, use glow jigs. My number one tip would be to use any jig that you prefer in the 2.5 and up. If you're chasing calamari, you wouldn't use a smaller jig, of course, especially if you're fishing for a PB or a massive squid. Those aircraft carriers, as they call them, with a wingspan, 30 centimeter hoods, 40 centimeter hoods. Probably hard to get a 40 centimeter hood inshore, but I can't see why you couldn't get a 30. I've got some 30s inshore, and maybe even some mid 30s. Mid 30s as well. Use a glow jig. Do whatever you need to do. So I like to do the Japanese aggressive whipping style, 4 whips, let it settle, and then do it again, and try to get that jig close to the kelp. I let it hit the bottom when I think that I'm not going to be losing the jig. If the kelp isn't so thick, or if I have experience with the spot, and when I get hung up, I'm able to pretty much just whip it out of there or pull it out of there. I'll let it hit the bottom. I like to let it get close to the bottom and be in contact with the bottom, so I know I'm working that bottom third of the water column. But at night, you don't have to do that. Sometimes you'll even see the squid just pretty much swimming by near the surface. I've seen that happen plenty of times with arrow squid. They seem to do that. I don't know why. Maybe they're just in that hunting mode and they just pretty much swim by the wharf. And if you're just shining lights across, you'll see them go with the tide. They're right on the surface. Yeah, so glow jigs. Any other tips? Yeah, I like an aggressive action, but you can do slow lifting as well. Some people like to wind in their jigs. It all works. But yeah, definitely make sure you're using a glow jig. I've done plenty of squidding at night, especially off a boat, just trying to get bait to down rig for kings in the morning. And I can definitely tell you, I feel like those glow jigs definitely pay for themselves, and they have a bigger impact than anything else that you could do with the jig. Color, I'd say that it almost is irrelevant to me at night. So long as it's glowing, I'm happy about that. Maybe the intensity to the glow as well. Some jigs, the premium jigs from, Yamashita, what else? Yozuri, Evergreen, all that, they glow with certain patterns. You can get a stripe pattern, tiger pattern, full glow. The head glows, but the tail doesn't. All kinds of weird stuff. You can even get different colors of glow, which I know in the Yamashita range they call it, I think, the 420 nanometer glow range, which kind of looks blue because that's in the blue range of the glow rather than the green section, which would be of higher wavelengths. So there's a lot there too, with the style of glow and the intensity of the glow as well. And actually, speaking about squid jigs, I wanted to ask you guys: have you guys seen those glow jigs? No, sorry, not glow jigs. I think Shimano have a new Cephia range, and they've got that glow tape that vibrates. It looks pretty cool. Sorry, not glow tape. It's like aluminium foil. That's what it looks like to me, and it makes the jig seemingly shimmer, even if you hold it pretty much still in your hand. Yeah, so have any of you guys heard of those jigs, and have any of you guys used those jigs? Because they look quite interesting. I might check them out at some stage and see how they perform. Jesse Brown, hi, how's it going, Jesse? He says, have you used Gulp or any other brands of plastics? I use plenty of Gulps. I kind of reach for the Gulps when I'm getting really desperate to catch a fish, because they seem to do the job when the fish aren't even nibbling at the truly plastics of the plastic. So the ones which are just like your Z-Mans, which you pretty much have to put scent on, otherwise they've got that polyethylene smell. I think I think that's how I'll describe it. Yeah, so the ones that are like full plastic and they don't have anything infused in them, if they're not working, and if they're not working, even if I'm smearing scent on, then I guess what I'll do is I'll turn to maybe some gulp shrimp or some gulp crabbies. I think I've done that on a few occasions in my videos. But as you know, if you crack open a packet of gulps, then you pretty much have to have a container to put them in or use them up on the day. So I try to save them for special occasions, like a kind of like a trick in the bag kind of thought, kind of mentality. Yeah. And to keep them fresh, what I do is I just use a sealable bag, and I'll carry around for a few sessions and try to finish it off. And Marisa says hi. Derpy the Dragon YouTube says, hey, Shroom, play Roblox. Never played that game. A lot of people mention that game. Must be super popular. Must be like Minecraft. Seems to have a cult following. The kid says, hi, dude. Jesse Barron says, why are Z-Mans your go-to favorite lures? I've got plenty of favorites, but when I start off the day, I like to use Z-Man grub because they're very economical. So for the average person that fishes with lures, you want to use something where you have a staple that you can always take with you, and not really decide on, do I need to tick this box or that box before I get started. I just basically pick up my rod, go to the river, start fishing, and then from there I'll start to adjust according to what I see. And you know, the Z-Mans, you can get them 3 for $25. So one of the cheapest lures on the market. They're proven. They got great colors in the range, and grubs, the brim love them. So the brim just love the grubs. So that's why I use them. I use them a lot. I do use other brands, other grubs as well. But if you're asking why I use them more often than most, yeah, they're my reasons. Jesse, hope that answers your question. All right, let's keep going down. Tanya's got a nice comment. Thank you very much. Okay, well, looks like my screen's just hopped down. Yeah, guys, if I miss your question, just throw it down in the chat. Matthew Marinovich, what should I use to catch jewfish in the harbor? Okay, so yeah, I answered this question a little bit earlier before. So I'll be brief. Just drop down in the comments section whether you're using bait or lures. So I'll just be brief and just like summarize what I said before. Ivan92 says, what should I use to catch? Okay, guys, so yeah, I've talked about this, but yeah, put your specific question in the chat again. Arthur Kim, would love to see some kayak videos in the future if you've ever thought about it. Friends have offered to lend me one. James, if you've seen James, a regular on the channel, the last time that I was with him, we were fishing for bass. So not too long ago, you guys can see that video. He's basically just offered me to take his kayak anytime I want. Maybe I might do that at some stage. Jimmy says, Shroom, what species have you caught on the cranker crab? I think I've pretty much only caught 90% brim, and the outside chance I'd catch a flathead, which obviously I don't really want to do, because being just the kind of bait that it is, kind of lure that it is, there's a big chance that you're going to get sawn off. And yeah, those lures aren't too cheap, but they're so effective on the brim. Some days you just have to drop it in front of them and they'll just literally just hammer it on the way down. So I find with the cranker crabs, I like the one that I used in my videos, which was the dark brown colored one. I don't know if it's got a specific name. I've still got a crab or two, I think. It's a lighter brown color, but I haven't had too much luck on that in the areas that I've thrown them in. So yeah, if you're looking to get crabs, go for a dark brown one. Seems to work very well in the Sydney system, at least from what my experiences have been. Novo says, it is me, Andreas. Thanks. Andreas, is it? Let's put that up. Andreas, if that's you, hope I got the right guy. He says, thanks a lot, Shroom, for blessing us with the stream. I'm enjoying it a lot and gaining lots of information. Can't wait for tomorrow's video. Keep up the great videos and edits. Thank you very much, Andreas. If that's who if that's the right person I've got in my mind, I definitely appreciate it. Thanks for sticking with me. And yeah, tomorrow's a video. Tomorrow is upload day. Mark Osborne says, have you ever fished Lake Illawarra before? I think it was before the screen just went on the fritz. Yeah, I fished Lake Illawarra. What have I caught? Brim, Taylor, and I think I caught one of those massive stingrays down that way as well. So there is that. I think, well, you'll know the system well. There's that. If I've got the right system in my head, there's that wharf along the, I think it's on either the southern side or the eastern side of the lake, of Lake Illawarra. It's like a really nice wharf. It's a long way out, and then at the end of it, you can see that it's kind of got like a little section that's a little bit situated in a way that's perpendicular to the main length of the jetty. And there was one day that I was with Joel, another regular on the channel, and we were just like pumping the brim underneath that jetty there. It was so good. I think there was a storm coming. We were there on a day when we were expecting rain, so we had raincoats with us. Drove down from Sydney, and there's that little section that you just kind of have to, I think you got to do like an underhand cast or side cast just underneath that jetty. Every time we got a lure in there, ping, you'd get like a little bang, and either you get smoked or you'd pull out a nice brim. So that's my last memory of Lake Illawarra. Jesse Tucker says, Shroom, check the black marlin at Meadowbank. Yeah, send me that picture. G says, what's your favorite hard body lure for a great all-rounder? In the estuaries, I like to use the Atomic Hards. So Atomic Hards deep diving 38 millimeter crank in Ghost Gill Brown. That's the color. So it's really round. It's fat. It's got a long bib. The bib is almost as long as the lure. It's quite short and stocky, that lure, and it's got a really nice wobble to it on a slow wind, and it can still manage to put out a very enticing action even if you wind it a little bit faster than you should. And because it's just slayed so much fish for me over the years, that's probably my go-to. You can find them pretty much anywhere. Seems to do the job. That color, Ghost Gill Brown, so good. It's got a little bit of blue under the chin. Top of it's brown. It's transparent, so it's kind of like a clear water fish, but as long as it's not full muddy like coffee color, I wouldn't mind. You know, that would be one of the lures that I'd be throwing most of the time. But if it's a little bit more murkier than that, then yeah, I'd go to the muddy prawn color. So that's another really good color that's done the job for me, especially on Georges River. I found that the muddy prawn seems to be very effective. Once you get about Lugano and up, muddy prawn seems to come into its own all the way through up to Chipping Norton Lake. Yeah, so that's my go-to. 6 pound line, 8 pound line, still does the job. Slow wind, fast wind. It floats up a bit quick, so it's not a lure that I would pause for more than about a second because it just comes flying up. Hang on, what's happened to my screen? That's a weird screen. It saw all the way at the beginning. I didn't even notice, guys. I'll try to fix that while I keep answering the question. Yeah, so the atomics are very, very buoyant. So that's one of the characteristics. I guess it can be a downside. I guess a lot of the lures coming out these days, you know, like the Berkeley ProTech Brims 38, that's a slow floating lure right there, from what I saw. And you can pause that for several seconds, and that's good. That's good for the brim because they like pauses. And which one was it? The what's the one that everyone likes? The Jackal. The Jackal. Yeah, the Jackal Chubby. That's it. The Jackal Chubby. That one there. Everyone's favorite. That lure, slow floater as well. I think they used to have weak hooks I've currently got one in the bag. I got the one that doesn't rattle. So I was going to give that a go at some stage and see how that would perform. All right, there we go. We've got the screen back up. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't even notice. So bad of me. Let me just check. What's this? Jorge, Michael, Jorge. Yep. All right. So I haven't missed any members and donations. All right. Let's let me get back on my StreamYard screen here because I'm I'm losing it a bit. Hope you're enjoying the show, guys. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Hit the like button. 49 likes. Let's make it 50 plus. 50 plus. Chris Coyote says, are you on a boat right now? No, unfortunately not. I would love to be on the boat. I would love to be on this boat. This is just a screen grab of my time up in Weipa in far north Queensland with all the boys, 10 of us fishing on a houseboat, 7 days, pretty much just killing ourselves, pumping in fish and sharks, day, night, 24/7, the best time. I got to get back up there. Got to make another series, got to make another video. Miss that place. Some Bailey says, what is the biggest fish you have caught? Biggest fish, well, biggest flathead was 92. Biggest mulloway on lures, 95. Another big fish would be a queenfish, 95. Sharks, I guess, I don't know if they count, couple of meters plus, or maybe 200 kilogram hammerhead. Yeah, so hopefully that answers your question. Biggest brim, 47.5 last winter. Make sure you check out that video. That's on the channel. Rom B81 Shroom. Now that you have been gaining popularity, do you get recognized in public, especially when you're not fishing? Actually, not too often. Not too often. I kind of keep to myself. It's actually quite hard to find me even when I'm fishing. I think that I always feel like when I go out there, there's a search party thinking, oh, I'm going out today. I wonder if I'll bump into Shroom. I know that I get quite a few messages on people saying that they're hoping to bump into me, and it's actually quite hard to find me. But in public, I think in a non-fishing situation, maybe once or twice I've been recognized, but other than that, not too often. Now, if I go to this has been the case for me, and also for AK and Mike as well, because he's told me every time he goes to a wharf fishing at night, he'll get recognized. So there was one night when we were together and we're at one of the wharves around Balmain, came strolling down at 6 p.m. at night, and it was like George Street. People left, right, center would say, oh, hey, Shroom, hey, AK, Mike. It was like 50 people on the wharf, and like 50 people recognized us. I guess it wasn't hard to see. We're carrying our GoPros, trying to film a video. That time, I think we caught a couple of arrow squid, and then we had to bounce out of there. It was just too packed. So that video is also on the channel. DC3, he's got a good question that'll benefit everyone. What's the best bait to use to catch jewfish in Parramatta River? Squid, or should I be using soft plastics? Okay, so I guess bait in that sense. Squid is always better. I'd say it's always better than lures. Lures, there's that time and place when you can throw them. Generally, it's the place as well. So if you have a bait, you're going to find more success at areas that are suboptimal, where the mulloway may not be passing through all that often. But they'll still be able to sense your squid. But if you're doing cast and retrieve, first of all, that lure is not in the water 24/7. Well, actually not 24/7, like the whole time that you're throwing it in the river. Sometimes you're casting it, sometimes it's towards the shore, sometimes it's out far. You're a moving target, the fish is a moving target. You both can be in the same general area and miss each other. But with that squid there, you've got that scent going through the water. You've got an actual bait that the jewfish will actually take 9 times out of 10. Bait definitely the way to go. Fresh squid that you've caught yourself, stripped up. If it's small, you can put it out whole. Stripped if it's big. If it's big, you strip it up. And if it's small, you can put it on whole. I generally don't like to put a massive whole bait, and also live squid. I mean, if I have a live squid, I'll definitely try that first up. But I find that they take squid strips just as readily as live squid. Now for kingfish, different story. I'd go live any day of the week and twice on Sundays. Live squid, always the way to go. I think with mulloway, their diet's a little bit more varied. I think they like live herring. They like live tailor. They like yakkers. You know, the one that I caught, the last one that I caught on the channel was on a live yakker. So yeah, they like their live fish baits as well. And yeah, plenty of other things as well. Whiting, they like worms. People have caught them on fresh prawns. Yeah, the list goes on. So, but yeah, squid, fresh squid strips, perfect bait for mulloway. Terrence says, what lures do you use for snapper? I haven't chased proper snapper, so I can't really give you too much advice there. That's outside of my expertise. But what I can tell you is at some stage this year, I'll be bringing on a snapper expert, and he's going to be on the podcast. So yeah, guys, keep your questions ready. Get your questions ready. Ask him. But I think what he uses Z-Mans in 5 to 7 inch in the pink and white. And they're the jerk shad style. Small lifts, 1/4 ounce, 5/0 hook. Pretty much just working it really slowly, in a mellow fashion. Nothing too vigorous, nothing too rigorous. And yeah, just that's from memory what he uses. But yeah, hang on, keep that thought in mind. Keep your questions ready because we'll be bringing on someone that can answer your question better than I can. James Klein, hey, hi, how's it going? He said, just cracked the magic 1K mark. Congratulations. I remember you on 998. I think a couple of days ago, several days ago. Well done, mate. Toast to you. Thumbs up. Keep it going. Keep up the good work, James. Love your stuff. Jed Young says, Shroom, do you throw Daiwa spikes in fresh and salt? And what do you target? I've got a couple of Daiwa spikes. I used it when they first came out. I think I've got a few, but they're still in the pack right now. I've been saving them for bass and trout. So I think the colors that I've got and the shape that I've got, I think that I'd much prefer using other lures for brim at this stage. I mean, I could use them for flatties, but I think that they would, the ones that I've got, better for flathead. Better for flathead, better for bass, bass and trout as well. Jeez, I'm mincing my words a bit. Yeah, so here, let me just get a drink of water. As you guys know, just a quick decision to hop on live. So pretty much impromptu Wednesday night. First time I've done a Wednesday night live stream, I think. Let's keep going. Marcus says, hey, Shroom, any tips for the big winter flatties on plastics? I think you'll find the bigger ones generally come on the bite in the spring. In the spring and the start of summer. I think the month of September, October, November, generally where you'll get the big ones. Can't remember when I caught my big one. I think it was in autumn. Not 100% sure. That was up the river though. So, different stages of the time, different places in the river. Any tips for the big winter flatties? I guess use big paddle tails with good action. I think they really like the big side to side swaying action of the head of the lure as well, and give them plenty of time for the lure to fall on the drop. So you don't want to be doing little twitches and having the lure rise up about 5 centimeters and hit the bottom. I like to do a double lift. Pretty much when I caught my big flathead, they were on just a jewfish technique, mulloway technique, which is just a very, very simple double lift. Get it about a meter up off the bottom, off the the river floor, sea floor. Get that slack back in straight away. That's one thing that's different to my brimfish. I get that slack right in away. I'm in contact pretty much within a fraction of a second after it hits the top of the lift. And then depending on what the water's doing, you can pretty much just keep it taut and then wait for that tick in the line. If it's too taut, I like to keep the rod tip and track it and bring the rod tip and lower it with the fall of the lure. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do. And another good tip would be strike hard. You have to strike so hard. I mean, these days in the last 6 months, I have been getting these comments about striking the lure, like too hard, like a maniac. But if you go back about a year, yeah, people were saying, "Wow, you strike so hard on the fish, it's like you're ripping the head off." Yeah, because pretty much what I used to do would be just chase mulloway, and you just get into that habit. Then when you get the slightest flick in the line, even if you're not sure what it is, you set that hook. You set it once, you set it hard, you set it strong, you set it true. Because that first hit must penetrate somewhere in the upper jaw. And if you're not striking these thick gauge 3.0, 4.0, 5.0 hooks, you're going to get a run, but then you're going to lose the fish right after the run. The fish is just going to literally just drop that lure or spit it out. And yeah, that's so heartbreaking. Strike hard, strike fast. And then I find with big flathead, you're on a timer from the moment you set that hook, because there's plenty of weight, so you're gonna have to apply a lot of pressure. It's got really, its mouth is big, so it's the question now becomes, did you hook it in the top of the jaw? Is it on the outside? Is it on the inside down deep? Are you going to get sawn off after X amount of head shakes? You don't have an unlimited amount of time to bring it in. Every head shake brings you closer to heartbreak. And so, yeah, fight it with good drag, just enough so that if it went for a run, it could pull a bit of line, but not so that you're fighting back 50 meters, because once that fish starts moving, if you got a 5 kilo fish and that 5 kilos is moving down with the current, you're going to be fighting that for a while. And that's just going to be, more chances for things to go wrong. And one last thing that I always mention is that when you hook a flatty, that hook point in the jaw, for some reason, it's not like a brim where it gets embedded. And, if you hook a brim, it's not coming out. That hook generally won't pull out if you hook it in the side of the jaw. But with flatties, that hole in the top of the roof of the mouth, and also this happens for mullow as well, if you hook them right in the top, as I fight, that hole just gets more, like, it just grows. It's just gouging a bigger hole into the roof of the mouth, which isn't soft, so it's not surrounding the hook. So it just gets more and more loose. And at some stage, it's just going to throw that out on the head shake. Yeah, so yeah, hopefully that was interesting. Critical Bro says, Shroom, do fish mouth or lungs will be okay after the hoop thing? Yeah, not too sure what that's supposed to mean. Cole Bowie says, yo, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Jed Young says, can I set a challenge for your Shroom? Yeah, you set a challenge. I'll see what it's about. Jed Young says, 1 lure, 3 fish, whiting, brim, flathead. I think I've inadvertently ticked that off, but maybe I'll come up with a video idea and put that to the test. That sounds like something that's quite interesting. Critical Bro says, I mean hook. So let me go see if I can find that again. Shroom, do you hook mouth or lungs will be okay after the hook thing? All right, I'm just going to assume that this question means what happens if you hook a fish in the mouth versus if you hook it in the gills. That would be the closest thing to an animal living in water. So obviously, if you hook it in the lungs, that's no good. The fish is probably not going to make it. Now with bait fishing, that's always a problem. With lure fishing, less so, because you're pretty much striking from the get-go. And I find that most fish don't get hooked down that deep with lures. The lure itself is an obstruction. The fact that to actually hook the fish, you have to strike from, the first couple of seconds from getting that tap, means that it doesn't have time to basically force that bit of food down its gob. Whereas if you're using bait, yeah, that's definitely going to happen more often than not. In that case, I'll just instruct you to just use an appropriate size hook size. Bigger hooks aren't as easy to get down the throat of a fish. And I guess like most people would think that, okay, well, if you're using a bigger hook, you're going to get less hookups. That's not necessarily true. There's a balance there. Too small, you're pulling these small hooks and you're getting sawn off because the hook is embedded down deep. If it's too big, then yeah, okay, you're not going to get as many hits, but the hookups that you do get are going to be a lot more solid and they're going to be in the corner of the mouth. So if you have to release that fish, that's going to be good for you anyway. And if you get less hookups on small fish because of the size of the hook, that's actually what you want, right? You don't really want to be hooking all these undersized fish anyway. Like I don't keep too many fish, but if you're fishing for a feed, you don't want to be hooking all these pickers anyway to begin with. So a bigger hook makes sense there. Here we go. Fish for Days has got a question. What is your favorite soft plastic for brim flathead? For brim, you guys can all say it with me. Z-Man Grubs Watermelon Red with a 1/16 ounce jig size 2 hook. Does the job for me most of the time. Some people also like to, instead of using Watermelon Red, they'll like to use motor oil. I like to alternate between Watermelon Red and Bloodworm. I find that those two colors suit the waters that I fish with the most. For flathead, I think I if I was to pick one favorite plastic, it would be the Gulp 5-inch, I think it is, jerk shad in Nuclear Chicken. Can't believe how effective those lures are on the flatties. They just come in like they're hypnotized, literally. That would be my go-to plastics for flathead. That's a jerk shad solve. Now for paddle tails, I like to use maybe something from the squidgy stable, like a squidgy fish, or these days, you've got your Daiwa bait junkies as well. They've got, I think, the 3-inch paddle tail. That looks pretty good for flatties as well. Nice action, quite slender lure. Very soft. Fish can just grab it and run with it. Shimano have the BioTough series. Squidgy fish, I think I've already said that. Yeah, the BioTough series, the Z-Man 3-inch, 4-inch, 5-inch paddle tails. List goes on. I mean, you can use naturals, you can use colorful lures, but if it didn't matter and I wanted a flatty, I think either a 5 or a 7-inch Gulp jerk shad in the nuclear chicken, which is like a red-green coloration, dual color plastic. So good. Great results on that. All right. Koa Bui says, any word on if the Georges, particularly Chippo, is firing again? I don't know if it's firing, but Georges is fishing fine right now. It may not seem like it, but there's fish in the river. There's fish in the river. There'll be a video from the Georges coming up shortly, guys. So stay tuned for that one. Jed Young, to get whiting brim flathead challenge is assist hooks on a Daiwa clutch. Okay, so I think this one goes back to that challenge. Yeah, assist hooks on a Daiwa clutch. You would definitely get whiting, so that would help catch whiting and brim. And yeah, flatties would definitely, no problem. If you got one treble, one assist hook, you'd hook a few flatties as well. With the trebles itself, yeah, it might be a bit hard to tick all three, especially the whiting. Some days they're just a bit too small. And yeah, I don't know if they really like a pause lure. They really like a lure that's moving continuously and slowly. They like their grub lures. I find like if I'm fishing an area and I'm getting taps, not getting hit, I might try a bit of a slow roll just to see what would happen. If it's a whiting, the hits just get stronger and stronger as they try to pick off that bait. That's how I know. For brim, I might get the few odd hits, but then they'll give up on following it. And flathead, yeah, double clutch. I mean, what can I say? Double clutch. That's one of the best hard bodies that you could use for flathead in the first place. So a long, slender, twitching hard body that works well to give off the impression of a very enticing, rigorous twitch and suspending. Like literally, you can't get, you can't have a lure that ticks more boxes for flathead than a suspending twitching minnow. Going back to the assist hook suggestion there, the assist hooks. Some people in my last video suggested that I should use retrofit the Berkeley Surface Bender 76mm surface lure with assist hooks, and that's exactly what I was thinking that day. I mean, some days you need a bit of help. The fish are just quite timid. They're not really hitting the lure with gusto. They're probably just picking at bits and pieces of it on the tail, for example. But with an assist hook, I have a feeling I would have hooked a lot more fish. But you got to remember that, we're in the death throes of autumn, tail end of autumn right now, start of winter. Go back about a week or two, we just had rains. The temperature of the water had just dropped with all that fresh coming in. We basically had flooding rains. And my opinion was we were just one long rain period away from the whole system just pretty much shutting down for the winter, and we'd get into pretty much winter fishing. But for some reason, it's actually rebounded a bit, so it's still quite warm right now. Still get fish on surface, but yeah, certainly not easy. You have to fish prime time. You got your good tides right now, like I said before, 2-meter tides, strong tides overnight, strong tides in the day. Fish early in the morning, you'd still find luck. But I think with the assist hooks, it would have changed my luck. But I wanted to test the lures, as is out of the box, because that's the point of it. I think that if they release the lure earlier on in the year, or maybe at the end of spring, these lures would make a little bit more sense to use. But I was really interested in seeing, just another bent style minnow like the OSP bent minnow, the original, probably still the best. Can't knock those lures. Yeah, so definitely support OSP, support the originals. But yeah, the surface bender, definitely a cheaper option on the market. All right, let's keep going for a little while longer. So Alexa Zivkovic says, bro, come to Serbia. We have a catfish to 50 kilogram. I don't know, for some reason when you said that, I was thinking about a catfish that's black. It's got a white belly and a red belly. Sorry, black belly. Black on top, white along the flanks, and red belly. Geez, I'm really stuffing up my English tonight, guys. But like I said, my excuse is I just pretty much just hopped on the live stream and just started talking and yapping away. I think that's an aquarium fish that I just mentioned. I don't think that's the catfish you have there. What do they look like? 50 kilograms sounds like a serious fight. I'd like to go there one day. Sounds like a fish to tick off the box, off the bucket list. Yeah, so let me know, Alexa. Critical Bro says, do you have any fishing tips? Any tips to fishing? I'm not that good at fishing, but I'm interested. All right, first thing, if you're an absolute beginner, go to Kmart, go to Big W, buy any combo that you're interested in under $20. Generally, it's going to be like a 2 to 4, 2 to 5, 4 to 8 kilogram rod. Obviously, actually, maybe that's not the way to go. Maybe decide on what you want to chase first, what kind of style of fishing that you want to do. But generally, a 2 to 4, a 3 to 6, or a 4 to 8 is going to cover you from light line fishing all the way through to just getting started on a wharf. Bait fishing, maybe spool that up with, well, actually, these combos all come with mono spooled on already. So all you got to do is just pretty much just crack off the tags and just like pretty much learn how to tie your first knot onto a hook and maybe put a sinker on the end of it. And that's it. So running ball to the hook and away you go. And that's how I recommend starting. If you don't have anybody to assist you, keep it simple. You can catch plenty of fish, and maybe start just by using prawns or pilchards. You're definitely going to get bites. It's going to help you hone your skill in detecting. And like, I mean, at the start, it's hard to say especially for the guys here who have been fishing for a long time. You've got everything down from line management to tying knots to knowing how to flip the bail arm over to making sure that your anti-reverse is flipped the right way to, putting line through the guides and not missing a guide. These are all the things that you can't, it's hard to explain until you just actually pick up a rod and, preferably just a cheap rod and just go to a local place near you and just put a hook on, put the most simple bait readily everywhere, which would be like a prawn or like a piece of pilchard, and just start fishing like that. That's what I recommend. I think at the start, you need to see some success and you need to start feeling some bites and you need to start catching a couple of brim here and there or yakkers or something. And then from there, once you got that down, there's no limit really to what you want to do. You'll quickly find out what you want to catch. If you're at a wharf, you might see the guy next to you caught a jewfish one day, or caught a nice salmon, or caught a nice brim, and you'll be thinking to yourself, "Oh, hang on, how could I do that? He's using prawns just like me, but he's doing this and that. What can I learn there?" And yeah, obviously here as well, ask me questions. Hopefully, I can help for the amount of help that I can give you. Not sure how good my help is though, but I try my best. Kawabui says thoughts on drop shotting for bread and butter species. Thought about it. They do it a lot in the US. I generally haven't bothered, but it has crossed my mind. Can't see why it wouldn't work here. I can't see why it would work better though. I can't see what kind of advantage it would enable me at this stage. So, but definitely, yeah, definitely you'd catch fish by just drop shotting with a drop shot rig. Jed Young says, I've ticked the brim, the flatty, and the whiting on the diver clutch 95 prawn with assist as yet. I'm going to take that as a positive. So it means that you've done it. So yeah, well done. Excellent. Massive lure, 95. I didn't know, I didn't think it would be that easy to catch a whiting on one of them. I have caught a whiting properly, hooked through the mouth with a 100 millimeter squidgy fish for 3/8 ounce jig head chasing mulloway. So that's happened several times. So at times they will hit big fish baits. I know that, but yeah, quite uncommon. But yeah, good stuff there, Jed. Big Gaza 2151. Do you use one of the clips so you can change lures quickly on the fly? Squid jigs, yes, I do. Hard bodies, sometimes the I think I was using, yeah. So the last video that I made, I was using the Berkeley surface bender that came with a mini clip that you could just clip on and off, and I at a few times just like unclip that and put on a hard body. But generally, not with soft plastics. Soft plastics, it's a no-go for me in general, unless it's some kind of like special circumstance and I'm just like really lazy, or I just need to get a lure out there. But squid fishing, yes, I do. 99% of the time I've got a clip on. Hard body fishing, I just tie it to the split ring. And that example that I gave you, I have done it, but not too commonly. All right, we'll go for a little bit while longer, guys. My time's almost up here. Drop your questions. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. I know everyone's got to go to work tomorrow, so a bit different to a Saturday night. So we'll try to wrap up the stream real strong. Let's keep going. Michael says, hi, mate. Love the show. Quick one. Love to catch some eels for the table. Do you know if there are any months within the year that will produce any better success? Look, I've caught eels every month of the year chasing carp. No joke. I try to avoid the carp now. I think a lot of people try to avoid the carp, but sorry, carp, eels. But when you're actually chasing, carp, you'll find that in all the obvious places you'll get eels as well. So in all that fresh water. Actually, I should ask you: are you chasing freshwater eels or saltwater eels? You know, those long finned or short finned eels from the salt. They're quite short, quite slender, quite thin, quite small. Haven't really caught a massive one there, but those freshwater ones, stonkers, thick as your arm, thick as your leg. Big fight, those ones. They look ugly, so ugly, only a mother could love them. But yeah, all kinds of gear. They take bread. That's my favorite bait for carp, and I catch plenty eels on the bread. Sliced bread straight from the supermarket, straight from Coles, straight from Woolies. The best. Yeah, best bread for best baits. Best baits for carp. All right, we'll go maybe one more question here. Crippet says, I can't condone recommending Kmart for your storage. Go to a local tackle shop. I can say that's definitely definitely solid advice there too. Lockdown says hi. Jed says not the whiting. Okay, so that was on the 95 double clutch. Okay, one more question, guys. One more question. What's your favorite fish? I answered that earlier. Pretty much everything, whatever's biting. I don't know anything about fishing, but your channel is cool, man. Thank you, Regilla. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I'm glad you find me entertaining. I'm glad you're sticking around, even though you don't fish. Maybe give it a go one day. Fantastic hobby. It might turn into an addiction, however. All right, well, hang on. In Mongolia, I think there are some big fishes. One time when my parents and me were camping, my dad said, let's fish, and we found a big fish. I think 1 meter. Yeah, Mongolia. I'm thinking this is all freshwater fishing. So you've got massive catfish at the very minimum. Yeah, let me know. I'll definitely read it after the stream. Let's keep going. One more fish. One more fish. My brain's all over the place, guys. One more question for the stream, for the Shroom Live podcast. So yeah, second show for the year. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Wednesday night, not my usual time, but like I said, just came on, hopped on, impromptu, trying to put on a show here. One last question. Here we go. Find a good question. Koa Bui says, how much less hookups do you get on weedless rigs? You definitely get a lot less hookups on the weedless rigs. I was giving the weedless a go in my bass video. I didn't make mention of that, but because we were fishing in the freshwater with so much structure, rocks, overhanging tree branches, you're not just fighting what's in the water. You're fighting a stray cast. You're fighting the tree across the other side of the bank. I can definitely tell you I got a lot more hits than the hookups that I actually ended up getting. Obviously, when you're using weedless rigs, you can make them fully weedless by pretty much covering the entire hook point, or you can just leave a tiny bit of exposure. I was fishing with pretty much no exposure and waiting for the hit to set in for about a second, longer than I normally would, and then lifting into the fish. It's really hard to estimate how much it impacts on the hookup rate. James didn't think that it seemed to affect the hookup rate all too much. I think that it depends on the day and how they're hitting it as well. But personally, for me, I find it greatly reduces the hookup rate on some days. And even on the best days, you'll probably find that you're getting at least 1 or 2 less hookups than you normally would. All right, guys, that's it from me for this stream. It looks like it went very well, except for maybe my side screen there with the comment section. I got to figure out what to do there. Thanks for your support, guys. I'm going to be putting up a fishing video tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, hit the like button on the way out. Follow me on Instagram if you have Instagram. I'm also on TikTok. I'm also on Twitter as well, which I actually should be using to announce these live streams so that people at least get some notice. If you want to support me in any other way, you can become a channel club member. Join the club. I've got a channel. Of course, I got a channel. I've got a community tab where I put up, a little bit more updates that I normally wouldn't put up for the public because it's just a little bit less relevant, but they're a little bit closer to what I do in private. So if that's your thing, you can become a club member. I put the cheapest, price for that as well that YouTube would allow me. So I pretty much just do it for you guys, just for a bit of fun and a little bit of support for the channel. And guys, thanks for your support as always. And I'll catch you tomorrow in the very next video. See you then, guys.